Hello guys, it's been a while. I just want to say Happy New Year and I hope that everyone had a good year in 2024. If not, that's okay, it's 2025 now. Hope this year is better for you. So I'm going to start this year off with a fragrance video. Last video was the designer fragrances where I just went through like my list of designer fragrances, the ones I think were the best from each house. So this one's going to be a little bit more about niche this time. There's obviously way more niche houses out there, so we're not going to get through every single niche house in this video. I'll kind of narrow it down a little bit to like the most popular niche houses in this video, and then maybe put out another video sometime in the future with like some less well-known niche houses. But for now, I got a list ready. I've been writing it down. And yeah, I just want to say that I've kind of been a little bit busy, just like doing my own thing, going to the city, trying different foods, dancing a lot. So yeah, like I've kind of taken a break from fragrance videos for a while. I don't really think I've bought many new fragrances, but I've definitely been trying a lot of new fragrances. As of 2024, I think I've tried pretty much everything that I've heard about. Maybe a couple of fragrances that I haven't tried yet, like the new Rasasi Hawas and all that. So I think there's like Hawas Black, Hawas Ice, and like a couple of other fragrances that I've heard about, but I haven't tried yet. So they're definitely on my list to try. For now, I'm going to focus on niche. So, I've written down some notes in my phone, and I got some notes on my computer too. So the first fragrance is going to be by Aventus. It's going to be by Creed, sorry. And it's going to be Aventus. Aventus was an easy pick for me, but out of the Creed house, there was quite a few other fragrances that I like Aventus Cologne, Aventus Absolute. So picking the right Aventus was a little bit hard, but I like the original Aventus the most because of the pineapple in there. And there's also some pretty good fragrances by Creed. They have Melissa May Imperial, Original Santal, Green Irish Tweed, Himalaya, Virgin Island Water, Royal Oud. But out of those, I do think that the original Aventus is the best, and it's their best seller for a reason. Even though you could make an argument that Cologne is better because it's a little bit more fresh and citrusy, or you could make an argument that the Absolute is better because it's a little bit more different than Aventus, which is a little bit played out now. So anyway, the notes of Aventus, I did write some notes down in my phone. Pineapple, blackcurrant, birch, ambrox, and pink pepper. So it's a very masculine scent with that iconic smoky birch smell and the pineapple. So next is Parfums de Marly, which is another big house. And there's quite a few that I like and quite a few that I don't like. So this was also another hard choice from Parfums de Marly. There was like Sedley, Percival, Greenlee, Delina. But out of the other ones, I don't like the other ones as much. Like, I wasn't a fan of Ojan or Carlisle, Leighton. I don't really vibe with those kind of fragrances. There's Holtane, which is, it's okay, but it's not enough to like be in my top picks. So even though Delina is a girl's fragrance, I do think it is worthy of one of the top Parfums de Marly fragrances. But my pick was like pretty much between three: Sedley, Greenlee, or Percival, which I think are most people's top picks. And so I'm going to say Percival's the best because it's very safe. I think it's a DNA that's proven to work and be mass appealing because it's like kind of like taking from that Abercrombie and Fitch Fierce DNA, making it a little bit more niche and classy with better performance. So you already know that DNA is good. You could also use the same argument to say that it doesn't deserve this spot because it's like a clone technically. But I compared it to the Greenlee. I think Greenlee is a little bit sharp, and it's very woody and peppery. I do like the opening of Greenlee a lot. If the opening stayed in the dry down, I would say that Greenlee is better, but Sedley was one that I liked the most actually at first, and then I had a bottle, and then it grew on me, and then I lost interest in it, and I wasn't wearing it as much. And there was something about Sedley that I stopped really liking. It was kind of weird. Like, it had this smell to it that I can't really explain, but yeah, I don't know. Sedley is also good, so it could be between Sedley or Percival. But Percival, musky, dry wood, citrus. It's got that fir and musk, a little bit soapy, powdery. Like I said, similar to Fierce. Oh yeah, I'm also filming this video at night, so I've got like a ring light facing me, so it's a little bit bright. And I just hope that the video, like the lighting and stuff, isn't too bad. Like, it's still watchable, and it's also very hot here in Australia, so sweating, and yeah, like, it's nighttime and it's still really hot. So anyway, let's move on. The next fragrance is by Kajal. Kajal also have heaps of good fragrances. They have Llama, they have Dahab, they have Ican, they have Massa, they have Almaz, they have Faris. There's a lot of good ones from Kajal, and for me it was also another hard pick because I love Kajal fragrances. But I picked Lamar. Maybe I will regret this decision later though, but for now I'm going with Lamar. I just think as of right now, currently, it's the one that I like the most, but I probably would have said Dahab. Like, maybe a couple of years ago, I would have said Dahab. Until I got over that kind of scent profile, like the Herba Pura-ish kind of smell. I really like the apple, passion fruit kind of smell you get in Dahab, but now I'm not really into that kind of like Herba Pura smell that I get in there as well. So that's the only thing that puts me off about that. And Faris, or Faris, a really good scent. It just smells like Dior Sauvage. So you could say it's a good fragrance, but for me, Lamar I would put in this list because I really like the pineapple. It's one of the best pineapple notes I've smelled. I also hate rose fragrances, and ironically, this is a rose that I do like when it's mixed with the pineapple, and it has this saffron sweetness, and I think that's the reason I pick this fragrance, Lamar. It's got like that sweet saffron, which is very addictive. It's like Baccarat Rouge 540 or Mancera Instant Crush. It's like that sweet saffron smell, but then I like the balance they've done with like the pineapple here to balance that out. And it also makes it different from Instant Crush because of the pineapple. It makes it different from Baccarat Rouge 540 because of the pineapple. And there's some other notes in there that it's got. It's got magnolia, cardamom, coriander seed, red berries, and a little bit of ambroxan and stuff in there too. So pineapple, rose musk, magnolia, cardamom. Yeah. So pretty much like it's a little bit feminine. I think that might be the rose and magnolia as well. But there is some nice balance in there. You may think it's too sweet for you. Personally, I like sweet, so it's good for me. And this video is also not going to be, it's not what I recommend to other people. It's not the most popular from each brand. It's my personal opinion. So this video is a very subjective video here. It's going to be just my favorites from each house. And usually when I make a video, I would want to consider like what other people would like as well. So I think the majority of people are going to say Ican or Faris is better. Maybe you'd say Dahab is better. Like at first I like Dahab the most. But Kajal is definitely one that grows on you. Like at first I didn't like Lamar, but now I think it's really grown on me a lot. And it's ironically one of the most compliment getters that I have out of my fragrances. Okay, so next, Got a house called Stephanie Humbert Luca. Very hyped house. They have some bangers like God of Fire. They have Pink Boa, Mango Kiss, Panthea, Iris, Venom Incarnate. So some more good choices. For me, this was kind of easy. I say God of Fire just because, not because it's the most hyped fragrance, but because I genuinely do think God of Fire is the best smelling one. And then either Mango Kiss or Pink Boa. So there are some good choices. If you're an iris lover, you may want to check out Panthea Iris, but that's more of like a girl's iris. So the notes of God of Fire are mango, ginger, cypriol oil, oud, red berries, tonka, coumarin, and musk. So you do get like a very nice mango, but the dry down of God of Fire has this cypriol kind of smell in it, which is like a green kind of smell, and that might put a few people off. Like if you really like the mango, you may start to get some green in the dry down, so that may actually put a few people off. And this is the problem with God of Fire. I've noticed a lot of people sell their bottles after buying it. The opening smells really good, but it's actually quite different when you wear it. And I think there's like cinnamon, or if it's not cinnamon, it's like a dried ginger note. So it's not a fresh citrusy it's not a fresh citrusy ginger. It's like a dried ginger you'd get in like gingerbread cookies and stuff. So it is like quite spicy and green in the dry down, and that comes through a little bit too much for some people. And you don't really notice this until you get a bottle and you actually wear it, and you're not smelling as much of that beautiful mango that you were deceived in opening. So anyway, God of Fire is still a really good scent. So next, we have Lafayette Street by Bond Number 9. So Bond Number 9 have a lot of other good fragrances as well. And obviously, yeah, my pick is Lafayette Street. But they have Bleecker Street as well, which is nice. There's the Scent of Peace for Him. There's Coney Islands. And Bond Number 9 have quite a few good fragrances. Just my personal pick would be between like Coney Islands, maybe Bleecker Street, or yeah, Lafayette Street. So Lafayette Street smells like Xerjoff Uden. It also smells like Dunhill Desire Red. It also smells a little bit like Nico Sculpture. So if you like those, maybe give this one a try. But for me, there's like this apple in the opening that I really like. So it's got apple, citrus, and vanilla, and tonka. It's a little bit soapy and powdery. It also smells a little bit like Montal woods and spices as well. So if you tried any of those, that's kind of like what this smells like. But yeah, Uden is like a citrusy vanilla. So it's just a little bit more interesting than Uden because it's got this apple in it that I really like. So yeah, Bond Number 9, Lafayette Street. So next would be Mason Francis Kurkdjian, or MFK. A very hyped house. Everyone knows about MFK because of Buckwheat Ridge 540. What other good fragrances do they have? They have Gentle Fluidity Silver. They have Buckwheat Ridge 540. They have Grand Soir. They have Amaris Home. And I'm just naming the ones that I actually like from this house, even though there's a lot more, but I don't really like a lot of MFK fragrances. So for me, I wouldn't put like Oud Satin Mood in the list. I don't like that one. But I do really enjoy some of their fragrances. Like Gentle Fluidity Silver is nice. I think Grand Soir is really nice. I think Buckwheat Rouge 540 is really nice, but it's a little bit, overdone now. So for me, I'm definitely going to say that Grand Soir I'm putting in this list. One of the really nice resinous vanilla scents out there, and I think it's got benzoin in it. Yeah, vanilla, benzoin, tonka, musk, amber, and orange. So it is pretty much a very linear, simple resinous vanilla. And orange is just like a nice little balance to that ambery, vanilla-y, resinous vanilla kind of smell. So Grand Soir by MFK is my pick. Next is Byredo, a house that you probably also heard about because how could you not? If you've been to like Mecca and all those stores, then you would definitely know about the house of Byredo. And there's quite a lot of fragrances from Byredo actually to choose from. Byredo have Boulder Freak, there's Mojave Ghost, there's Bibliothèque, there is Gypsy Water, there's like quite a lot of nice fragrances from Byredo. And this was actually a very hard pick for me because three of their fragrances are some of my favorite fragrances like ever. I really like Boulder Freak, and I really like Gypsy Water, and I really like Mojave Ghost as well. So for me, I picked Gypsy Water because it's a citrus vanilla, and it's a little bit interesting because it's got like this light, airy, watery quality to it. But then there's also juniper, pine, incense, and sandalwood. My only problem with Gypsy Water is when you overspray it, because keep in mind the performance is terrible, so you have to overspray the stuff. The smell is like completely different. Like if you want the best from Gypsy Water, you have to spray it lightly so it just smells like vanilla and citrus. Otherwise, if you overspray it, you get like this dirty kind of incense smell that comes out and sandalwood. And that's a little bit the thing that I don't like about this. So, you have to carry a bottle of Gypsy Water on you. And this is a fragrance you have to just apply lightly, leave it, and then just apply lightly, leave it. You can't soak yourself in this stuff because the smell does change. It changes to like a dirty kind of incense if you put too much on, and then it's really not good at all. So that might be a factor for you to say a Boulder Freak's better. So if you like Boulder Freak more, go for it. I actually personally wear Boulder Freak even more, just because I don't know. I think it suits me a little bit more, Boulder Freak. I really like that kind of like citrusy, woody smell. It's a little bit like Musk Therapy as well. So, a day like today, yellow, I could wear Gypsy Water or I could wear Boulder Freak. It's very hot. In Australia, it's very hot if you didn't know. And I do find that Boulder Freak works a little better in the hot weather. So, I wear it a little bit more than Gypsy Water. But I am almost finished my bottle of Gypsy Water too. So, another thing is Gypsy Water smells very similar to Tam Dao EDP by Philosophico. By Diptyque. So there's a house called Diptyque, and there's a fragrance called Tam Dao, and that's also very similar to Gypsy Water. So the next house is Mancera, and oh boy, this is a very hit or miss house, but they have some big name fragrances. There is Cedrat Boise, there's Instant Crush, Tonka Cola, the newish one, like Cosmic Pepper, there's Red Tobacco, Oud Lemon Mint, Amore Cafe, and French Riviera. There's also a ton of other Mancera fragrances. They seriously have like some of the most fragrances ever from a house. Like probably over 100 different fragrances. I don't know if you can still buy all of them. Like some of them are probably discontinued, but they're always coming out with new stuff. Anyway, I am not a big fan of the House of Mancera, but I do like Mancera even more than their sister house, which is Montal. So I picked the Intense Cedrat Boise, not the original Cedrat Boise, the Intense one, because I get a little bit more blackcurrant in this one. It's also a little bit creamier, muskier, a little bit smoother. I get a lot more vanilla coming out in the Intense. But the smell is a little bit similar to Aventus. It's a little bit similar to Electimus Imperium. A little bit similar to Hachivat X. So what is the smell? It's citrus, blackcurrant, musk, vanilla. There is like a dirty, ashy, kind of smoky smell, which is like similar to the birch in Aventus. There's leather, like a really earthy kind of leather in there. There's some oud, which is also very earthy. And that's the smell you get. It's very creamy, fresh, got some sweetness in there. It's a little bit like smoky, woody, citrusy, some blackcurrant in there. So it's a very masculine scent. I personally really do like intense Cedrat Boise. At first, maybe not so much, but it's a fragrance that grows on you and becomes quite addictive the more you smell it, and then you start to really enjoy this one. So next, speaking about Montal, I didn't really know which one to pick from Montal next. So this next house is Montal. I'm just gonna go through some of their fragrances that I kind of like, or that I would give an honorable mention. The Ristretto Intense Cafe, Sweet Vanilla, Honey Oud, Daydream. There's Woods and Spices. There is also Arabian's Tonka and stuff like that. So for me, I had to go with which one's the most wearable, honestly. I do think half their fragrances are too sweet, too spicy. This one, even though my pick is going to be Woods and Spices, it's not very spicy, as the name would suggest. Woods and Spices smells a little bit like Lafayette Street, or like Nico Sculpture, Dunhill Desire Red, like Zerja Ruden. It's got that kind of similar smell going on in there. But the notes, they say sandalwood, incense, oud, vetiver, but the notes are very misleading. You actually get like a little bit of a like soapy, citrusy, and maybe even, would I go as far as to say fruity? I would say a little bit more citrusy and soapy, like you'd get from like Uden or something like that, you know. So I don't know if soapy is the right word, but it definitely has that kind of like Uden kind of smell in there, if you know what I mean. You either know or you don't know, but I like Woods and Spices. Not everyone does. You look at the reviews, it's very mixed, so try this one before you buy it. Next house is by Nishane. I don't really understand why so many people love Nishane so much, but for me, there's a couple of standout fragrances. There is Hachivat, there's Hachivat X, there's Annie, there's also Annie X, there is 100 Silent Ways and Caragos, or Caragos. There's a few fragrances I've also tried that I didn't like from them. I hate Wulong Cha with a passion, really hate that. Really hate Vain and Naive. I hate Fan Your Flames. So I could go on about fragrances I don't like. This is just the ones I like. So my pick is definitely Annie X as the best Nishane fragrance. It's just a big improvement over the original Annie. So original Annie is like a really nice vanilla, and Annie X improved that by adding some freshness. So it's still a really nice vanilla scent, but now you get citrus, apple, ginger, black currant, sandalwood, pink pepper, and it does have a slight like dirty medicinal oud smell to it, but I think that's just the sandalwood. So not everyone's going to pick up on this, but I think it is a nice contrast to the vanilla and the citrus in there. It's definitely got enough fresh citrus to really like make this a standout, you know. Even though Hachivat has nice pineapple in it, I just personally like the smell of Annie X even more than Hachivat. But it could be one of these things where you ask people on the street, they may prefer the smell of Caragos, or they may prefer the smell of 100 Silent Ways. If you look at a fragrance like YSL Black Opium, that's very similar to 100 Silent Ways. It's got like that same musky kind of smell in it. So it just depends on who you ask. This video, you're asking me, and Annie X is my pick. So the next house is Goldfield and Banks, an Australian house. So shout out to Goldfield and Banks. They got some nice fragrances like Pacific Rock Moss, Sunset Hour, Bohemian Lime, Silky Woods, Ingenious Ginger. I really like Sunset Hour, by the way. It's just a little bit feminine. For me, I'm gonna go with Pacific Rock Moss. I think it's a fragrance that I loved immediately when I just smelled it, you know. So it has this citrus, sage, aquatic salty smell. There's some cedar and oak moss in there too. It smells a little bit like melon. Well, at least to me, it smells like lemon. But it also smells a little bit like Jo Malone Wood Sage and Sea Salt and by Bozo Sea Breeze. So I do think it's inspired from the Jo Malone Wood Sage and Sea Salt, and they're definitely the smell you get. You get that sage, but this is a big improvement over the Jo Malone, which is a little bit woodier, a little bit spicier. Pacific Rock Moss is smoother, more aquatic, more fresh. So Pacific Rock Moss is my pick, and I do think on a hot day, it's a really nice hot weather fragrance too. Mango. Oh, actually, I almost spoiled my answer here, like I did just before. So this house is Gritty. The next house is Gritty. Well, you kind of already know what I'm going to pick now. But I'll go through the other Gritty fragrances first. Gossip Night, Because I'm Free, Duchessa, Siracusa, Pomelo Sorrento, and of course my pick is Mango Oud. From Gritty, I think Mango Oud is the best Gritty fragrance. It's got this green mango, it's got guava, coconut, it's got a dry earthy oud, it's got neroli, vanilla, a few other notes in there. The standout is definitely the mango, but the oud is definitely noticeable. It's, like I said, dry and earthy oud. You may think it's a little bit dirty, but again, other people are gonna probably lean a little bit towards the other fragrances by Gritty, like Gossip Nights, which ironically is a little bit similar to 100 Silent Ways, or also similar to Tonka Peach by Gallagher. Mango Oud, I think it's a really nice original fragrance. Even though mango itself is not the most original note, this is quite a original, unique smelling fragrance. And yeah, I actually do like the House of Gritty. I think most of the fragrances I've tried from Gritty I really like. Especially like the more fresh ones as well, like Siracusa, Pomelo, Because I'm Free. I think that's a fresh one. But anyway, they do fresh good, they do sweet good. I feel like it's a pretty well-rounded house. So next is going to be Juicebox. Also another hyped house. They have some okay fragrances like Feel and Chill, The Good Morning, Cheeky Smile, Karaoke Heart. I haven't actually tried Karaoke Heart yet, but I do believe I've tried like Beat Cafe or one of those other ones like that. Maybe it was Black Powder or something. But anyway, I like, as of right now, the only one I really like is Good Morning. It's mandarin, magnolia, musky, soapy, fresh laundry type of smell with some cashmere in there as well. So I just think this is a really nice fresh mandarin white floral fragrance. Honestly, it's a little bit musky and soapy, but it's just like one of those safe grabs, safe wears, or was it a dumb reach? On a hot day, you just wear it. It's just like nice and fresh, and it does last a really long time. Perfumer is Dominique Ropion, if that matters as well. I do want to try Karaoke Heart though, so it's on my list of fragrances to try. Karaoke Heart. So next house is Diptyque, and I know they have some other good fragrances like Philosikos, Tam Dao. They have like Eau Duel. But my pick is Philosikos EDP, even though I am a pretty big fig hater. Something about the fig in this fragrance I really like, honestly, because I think I get like this peach or apricot smell in here too, and that's what sells me on Philosikos. It's the peach or apricot smell I get, which is a little bit similar to Pacific Chill, but then there's this creamy coconut and like a green fig leaf, some woods, and obviously the classic fig smell. To some people it smells just like a tree or fig leaf that may be too green for them. If you are one of the lucky people that can pick out the peachy apricot smell like I do, you may like it a little bit more, and I'm just lucky that I can smell a lot of that peach apricot smell in there. So I really like Philosikos, but I understand why not everyone does. So if you're one of those people that don't like it, then go with like Tam Dao EDP or something. So the next house is Le Labo. and I've tried quite a few of their fragrances. I didn't like most of them. Another 13 was okay for a layering fragrance if you want like like some ambroxan. If you want a skin scent, another 13 is alright, you know. If you want something a bit challenging, Santal 33, got a little bit of that pickle smell to it, leathery woods and like a pickle smell. Bay or Bay, I don't know how to say it, but that one's okay as well. Personally, I gotta say the matcha is gonna be my pick, even though I want to try some other ones from Le Labo, like the Tonka one and the vanilla one as well. So my pick as of right now is the matcha. It's got fig, matcha, tea, bitter orange, vetiver cedar. It does come across as a little bit too green though. The tea smells like petitgrain and a little bit cheap smelling. But I mean, it's probably one of the better fragrances by Le Labo. Citrusy, fruity, green. It's got the fig smell. I don't really like fig that much. This fragrance was actually alright though. I probably wouldn't buy it or wear it, but out of the house, you don't have many better options to really pick from. So, you know, I hate Santal 33, but I smell it on so many people in public. So I do understand that a lot of people love Santal 33. So the next house is BDK. And BDK, I'm not a big fan of BDK either. They have like some alright fragrances like Rouge Smoking, Velvet Tonka, Passesoir Extrait, and that's gonna be my pick. Is the Passesoir Extrait version. You get like a fruity peach, pear. There's some ginger in there. There is jasmine, vanilla, cashmere, and benzoin, orange blossom, quince, cacao, and it's a little bit musky. The opening, very fruity, and then it morphs into a musky jasmine type of scent. And some sweetness comes out in the dry down as well. So the only problem I hate with this fragrance is the dry down, because it becomes way too floral and musky. But if it kept that fruity opening, then I love this one a lot more. You know, it's a little bit feminine, but Velvet Tonka is also, it's alright, you know. And Rouge Smoking, if you want something cherry-ish, you might like that one too. Anyway, the next fragrance is by Fragrance Du Bois. This house, I actually took a very long time to try anything from Fragrance Du Bois, because I was a little bit put off that everything they had oud in it, and then I did actually find some other ones that looked like decent to try. So they have Oud Bleu Intense, Minuit or Minute Edemi, which is Demi Rawlings' fragrance. I can't pronounce that, sorry. I wish she had come up with a better name for that fragrance. Santal Complete, Voyage Paris, and London Spice. I'm going to pick London Spice. I think it's the easiest fragrance to like from the house, and one of the most fresh as well. You get citrus, mint, sea notes, magnolia, jasmine, nutmeg, cardamom, cedar, patchouli. Main smell is definitely nutmeg and cardamom and mint. So it's a little bit green, but very fresh. And then the nutmeg, cardamom kind of is like the spice you get in there. And yeah, I don't know, there's something about that nutmeg, mint, cardamom combination. It's like a little bit more unique for the fresher kind of fragrances, even though I think Mr. Burberry EDT kind of has the similar note breakdown, like nutmeg, cardamom, mint. So you could go with Mr. Burberry EDT, but this is like a more higher end kind of fragrance, you know. So London Spice by Fragrance Du Bois, definitely check that one out. The next house is Imaginary Authors, and this house is very underrated and it deserves a lot more hype because they have great fragrances. Some notable fragrances by Imaginary Authors are Memoirs of a Trespasser, Saint Julep, Whiff of a Waffle Cone, In Love with Everything. But my pick is gonna be Falling into the Sea by Imaginary Authors. This is a very aquatic, salty marine scent. So, like the name suggests, falling into the sea, smells like the ocean. You get that marine, salty seaweed smell. But then there's some citrus, lychee, sand, and that's kind of like the smell you get here. So it's mostly aquatic, salty, marine, and then some citrus, lychee, and sand. Whatever sand smells like. But if you want like a nice aquatic marine, this one definitely captures that aquatic marine smell. So give this one a try. I do feel like this is a very underrated fragrance. Next is Xerjoff. Xerjoff Uden I'm gonna pick, but they also have some other fragrances which I'm not a big fan of. Xerjoff, they have like way too many fragrances and half of them don't even smell good. Anyway, they have Cruz del Sur too, which is like mango, like a nice mango scent. There's P33, which is like a musky iris that smells a little bit like Ultramale. You have Lyra, which was one of my favorite fragrances ever, like a nice gourmand vanilla-y citrus fragrance. You also have like Dama Bianca, Naxos, Torino 22, Italica. So there are some okay fragrances and some really good fragrances by Xerjoff. It was only really between Lyra and Uden for me, and I'm going with Uden. Just because I feel like that Lyra DNA is a little bit more overdone, like especially with the newer releases of like Dolce & Gabbana Devotion. You just smell it way more on people, so that's a downside. But then it's like Acro Baked, Nevertis Siesta Drive, and like Kerosene Unknown Pleasures, and right now I do feel like there's more Lyra clones than Uden clones out there. Anyway, Uden's got citrus, vanilla, musk, coffee, rum, sandalwood, rose, and just a nice creamy citrusy vanilla fragrance. So citrus, vanilla, creamy, very safe, very likable, inoffensive, and just a brilliant overall fragrance. So there's quite a few more fragrances in this list to go through, and I'm just gonna pause this video right here and charge my laptop, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so don't go anywhere. See you in a minute. Let's continue this video. I think I was up to Xerjoff, and I just finished talking about Xerjoff. So next house is Penhaligon's or Penhaligon. They have a lot of fragrances, and I think this is an English house, but I made a video like a few years ago, and I thought they were like a Middle Eastern house, so I do apologize for that. I had no idea that Penhaligon's was English royalty, like the English royal family. Actually, that's what this brand is based off. They name all their fragrances after English royalty. And I don't know if it's a niche or if it's a designer, so for this video, I'm going to consider it niche because I really don't know. I probably should have researched that first. Anyway, Penhaligon's, some fragrances that I will mention: Mr. Sam, Endymion Cologne, Juniper Sling, and like Solaris, maybe Mr. Thompson or Mr. Williams, whatever that one was, Terrible Teddy, Lord George. So there's some that I like, some that I don't like. I do believe, as of right now, I tried 90% of their fragrances that I've seen in the shop, or that they have. So, quite a lot. I've tried a lot from Penhaligon's. My favorite was probably Endymion or Juniper Sling. So, it was a tough choice, but I'm going with Juniper Sling for a certain reason. I feel like this is like a mojito or gin and tonic kind of like fragrance, where it's very fresh, very wearable, very mass appealing. I feel like Endymion leans a little bit more in that like Xerjoff Uden kind of category, or a little bit more, a little bit more challenging than Juniper Sling. So Juniper Sling, you get like I said, a mojito or gin and tonic smell. There is juniper berry, like citrus, vetiver, sugar, cherry, cardamom, orris, angelica, cinnamon, orange, leather. even though you get all those notes listed, it's not really like that at all. Like, only in the opening is like that juniper citrus smell, or the mojito kind of gin and tonic smell, like I described. And a dry down, you get a little bit of the cinnamon, a little bit more of that juniper coming out in the dry down, and yeah, that's about it. Besides that, it's a very nice fresh fragrance, a little bit on the green side, so a fresh green fragrance, but really nice in hot weather. So next house, I believe is Clive Christian, and I don't know if this is niche or designer either. Usually, whenever there's a name after a person like Clive Christian, my brain immediately goes towards the designer side, because usually a lot of the designers are named after people like Christian Dior and stuff like that. However, I think this may be a niche. I don't know, but I'm putting it in the niche video. So, Clive Christian, they have some good fragrances. Not for everyone though. I think Blonde Amber I tried, which was a little bit like a niche side effect. There was Town and Country, which was a little bit like Baccarat Rouge 540. There was a fragrance called X. And then there's a fragrance called Amberwood. There's a nice kind of like Fugia fragrance. I think it was like 1953 or 1853, something like that. Hedonistic was okay. So let's think of some alright fragrances. For me, it's going to be Amberwood as my favorite from Clive Christian, because Amberwood smells like Prada Luna Rossa Black, but more complex, a little bit more going on. You get this rubbery, powdery smell. There's some tonka in there. Some Angelica, tobacco, tonka, musk, vanilla, cypriol, oud, and orris. Sorry, so oud, orris, cypriol. So just think of Luna Rossa Black with some tobacco and like an oud or cypriol in there too. And yeah, it's pretty much what this is, you know. So a slightly more complex version of, or when I say complex, I'll say interesting. Slightly more interesting version of Luna Rossa Black, Amberwood. Probably should have got a drink as well. I don't know if I got like dry lips or anything. Next house is Sospiro, which is very similar to Xerjoff. I actually thought Sospiro and Xerjoff were the same house for a very long time, because they had like the same kind of fragrances that all named the same thing. Like Herba Pura was like a fragrance by Sospiro and Xerjoff. So I still don't really understand what's going on there, but I think they're sister kind of houses. So there's some kind of connection there between Xerjoff and Sospiro. I'm not sure what that connection is. You'd have to ask someone that knows, not me. Anyway, I don't know if I like that many fragrances by Sospiro, but they do a lot of clones. That's what I will say. They have like Vibrato, Beso, Herba Pura, obviously. There is Dolce Sonata and Dolce Melioda. Ironically, my favorites... Oh, I could barely talk then. My favorites are the Dolce fragrances, like Dolce Melodia and Dolce Sonata. Then my pick is Dolce Melodia because I just like the notes and the smell of this one a little bit more. It's fruity. You get saffron, citrus, gardenia flower, blackcurrant, jasmine, rose, vanilla musk. Pretty much just a fruity, floral, musky scent. A little bit on the feminine side, but this one's still good. However, the Dolce Sonata is also like a little bit more gourmand and sweeter. So you may like Dolce Sonata more. If you really like cologne fragrances, you might like Vibrato, which is in the style of like Ingenious Ginger. Or you may like Beso, which is in the same style as like a Terre d'Hermès or something like that too. Okay, so the next house is Simone Andreoli, and I'll just go through some fragrances by them first, like as an honorable mentions. Businessman, Malibu Party in the Bay, Sunplosion, Pacific Park, Leisure in Paradise. So these are some ones that I do like, and I'm gonna pick Leisure in Paradise by Simone Andreoli. Now, the notes of that are papaya, coconut, vanilla, pineapple, and woods. But the actual smell is like a green mango. Even though it's not really mango, it is kind of like that papaya smell, giving off like this green mango smell, okay? So it's tropical. I think the pineapple amplifies that tropical smell. But it's very, very creamy and sweet. So this is like the coconut and vanilla definitely dominate this fragrance, making it very sweet and gourmand. And that's what it is, a very sweet coconut papaya smell. Like, it's pretty much what it is, like a coconut fragrance, but very gourmand style and tropical. Yeah, so if you don't like the very sweet fragrances like this, then you would probably want a more fresh coconut. And they do have fresh coconut, which is like Malibu Party in the Bay. That is Virgin Island Water clone, I believe, by Creed. Sunplosion is a little bit more like on the fun kind of coconut side, so it's a little bit more fruity and fun, and a little bit like candy or sweet, like a lolly or something. So Sunplosion is like a fun fragrance. Leisure in Paradise is like the creamy, smooth, tropical vibe. And then Malibu Party is like the fresh, tropical Virgin Island water style fragrance. Next house is Wilhelm Parfumerie. And again, I don't know if this is niche or designer. I've seen this brand at like Mecca and stuff though. So let's just name a few that I like. Morning Chess, which is like a Aventus style fragrance. Black Citrus, which is also like an Aventus style fragrance. There's Sparkling Joe. There's also Mango Skin. So they're the ones that I like the most. But I think it's called Dear Polly. That one's okay. That's like a nice apple wood kind of scent, if I remember correctly. So where do I stand with Wilhelm? I think Mango Skin is going to be my pick. It's obviously the most hyped besides Morning Chess. But I like the smell of this as well because it is mango, but it's a very feminine mango. So this one's probably only for the girls out there. Mango, blackberry, orris, lotus, jasmine, vanilla, and icing sugar. Main smell is mango, but then you get this very, very sweet icing sugar. Which ironically smells a little bit like saffron, like a saffron sweetness with that mango. But it's just very feminine, and that's because there is a lotus jasmine in here, and the florals are definitely very noticeable, and that's what kind of like made me sell my bottle of it. It wasn't the sweetness, it was actually like the lotus and jasmine that made me sell it, because it was a little bit too feminine for me. But also my sister wouldn't wear it because it was too sweet. So my sister only really wants the sweet fragrances, my sister only wants the fresh fragrances, even though she liked the smell of it, just too sweet for her. For me, on the other hand, it was just a little bit like too floral. So Amouage is going to be the next house. Now, I've had quite a journey with Amouage, and let me tell you, it was not a pleasant journey, because I tried a lot of their fragrances and they stink really bad, and I hate a lot of their fragrances. It's a very very hard house to get into. Luckily, I can help you out a little bit and tell you some of the better ones to try. I would recommend starting off with like Reflection Man and Enclave or Enclave. Search and Meander are also good. There's Epic and there's Journey as well. So I'll probably recommend those, but I think my favorite is still Reflection Man. But Enclave is actually growing on me a lot. I do like the minty freshness of Enclave, and sometimes I want like a nice minty fragrance. So that one could be a possible favorite in the future. But for now, Reflection Man is my favorite. And just go through some of the notes quickly. Iris, Jasmine, and Neroli. the main smell you get is like the white florals with the iris. But then you got some petitgrain, pink pepper, rosemary, ylang ylang, sandalwood, vetiver. So this is like soapy, iris, fresh, clean, white floral, very classy, elegant, but slightly feminine, but very high quality fragrance. This is actually very subjective too. I find a lot of men like this fragrance, but the girls don't necessarily like it as much on guys. And I don't know what it is, but there's something about this Reflection Man DNA that guys really, really like, and girls don't really like. So maybe it's a pheromone thing, or it might just be like a gender thing, but there's definitely a gender difference here where we're not attracted to the same kind of smells. So that's something very interesting. So this is probably even worth researching. But yeah, I personally really like the smell of this stuff. You want something a little bit cheaper, go with Gucci Guilty Elixir, which is like Reflection Man. It's just a little bit sweeter with some vanilla that's amplified a little bit more in that. So the next house would be Mason Crivelli. Don't know if it's niche or designer, but it's going in this video. So they're most well known for Iris Malikan, but they have some other good ones, which is Hibiscus Mahajad. There's also Absinthe Boreal. There is Bois de Chai, and these are the standout ones for me. In terms of just most interesting and complex, Iris Malikan is definitely the most interesting, complex one out of them all. But I've got to give credit to Mason Crivelli. All their scents are very original and unique. They don't smell like anything any other house is making or putting out. So this house is like really pushing the boundary with creativity and fragrances. So if you want something that just smells so unique, then you could go with pretty much any Mason Crivelli fragrance, you know. For me, I, on the other hand, like Bois de Chai. I think it's probably one of the more safer, more mass appealing scents for them. I think it's a nice blackberry tea kind of scent. But there's some more stuff going in there. There's tea, blackcurrant, papyrus, incense, cinnamon, cedar. So the blackcurrant is the star of the show here. Very fruity. But it's balanced very well with like this green tea smell. And papyrus. Some people say they get more incense, like a smoky smell. I don't really get the smoky smell as much, but I do think the balance of blackcurrant and green and the tea also work really well together as well. Okay, so we've got 3 more fragrances to talk about and then the end of this video. Okay, so bear with me. Sorry, this video has been going for ages. Next is the House of Kilian. They have some bangers like Black Phantom, Angel Share, Smoking Hot, Good Girl Gone Bad, Roses on Ice, and even one of the more newer releases, Old Fashioned. So Kilian, plenty of people know about Kilian. Me? I don't really like Kilian that much. Surprise. So I'm not an Angel Share fan. I don't like the smell of Angel Share. So the only fragrances I really liked were Black Phantom, because I do love coffee. But that's a very earthy, bitter coffee, and I think that's due to cacao or some note being in there that makes it very bitter. So I like the smell of Smoking Hot and Good Girl Gone Bad. I feel like they're very wearable gourmand kind of scents as well. For me, I was looking for something more fresh though, and their fresher fragrances were like apple brandy on the rocks, or apple brandy. I didn't like that at all. Vodka on the rocks, did not like that at all. It just smells like alcohol to me, and I don't like the smell of alcohol. So, what am I gonna go with? I actually think Roses on Ice is the best fresh and most mass appealing fragrance from Kilian. And that's a surprise, right? Because you would think by the name Roses are nice, and me being like a rose hater, I don't really like rose that much. Well, as of right now, I'm gonna say I'm no longer a rose hater. So there you go. I apologize if my taste of fragrances is getting worse. Let me know. But I apologize anyway. So roses are nice. Contrary to the name, the main smell is not rose at all. It's cucumber and juniper and lime is the main smell. So it's like a watery mojito, like a drink, something you would drink. It's got like that cucumbery, watery smell, juniper, rose, lime, violet leaf, ozonic, pink pepper, sandalwood, and ambroxan. I think this is probably the best fresh rose scent, at least. In terms of like rose scents go, this is the best fresh rose that I've smelt personally. And I think it's just because the rose is not like the star of the show here. It's just like kind of in the background, and it's not really like overpowering anything. So that's a good thing for me. Having the rose as a supporting note and not overpowering everything is really important, because I don't really like it when rose is the main note in a fragrance. So roses are nice. I think is the best Kilian fragrance. You wouldn't have guessed, huh? I don't think anyone would ever guess my favorite Kilian fragrance is Roses Are Nice. But there you go, now you know. Anyway, next is going to be from Initio. Initio, I actually do like Initio. I feel like they've got some good fragrances too. They have Atomic Rose, which is like a Parfums de Marly Delina clone. There is Side Effect, which I actually did really like when I first tried it. There's Paragon, really nice. My favorite is Musk Therapy from Initio. And I feel like this is still to this day quite a very unique smell that a couple of houses have tried to kind of mimic the smell of this, but they just don't do it anywhere as good, you know? Like, you have Boulder Freak by Byredo. It's like fresher, but it doesn't even come close to like how good this stuff is. So this is like nuclear performance. It's just like really nice blackcurrant, magnolia, citrus, sandalwood, hedione. It's like very musky and cloudy, like a soft cloud, like a marshmallow kind of texture you get in this smell, but not in like a cloying sweet way. It's got like this floral, slightly fresh, slightly sour-ish smell. It's like the blackcurrant is very fruity, so it is fruity, but then it's like this floral aspect in the musk, and it's just a very unexpected combination that you wouldn't think works together at all, but it works together really, really well. So, yeah. I feel like this is quite a unique smelling fragrance. I don't smell it on anyone in public. And it's actually one of my signature scents. So I wear this stuff all the time, and I get compliments literally every single time I wear it. So how could you not put this as number one when literally the stuff is like magic? It works extremely well in public. Like, the amount of people that love this stuff and have like said something to me when I wear it, like they're just like, what are you wearing, you know? And I always tell them like, it's by Byredo, Boulder Freak, because I don't want them wearing this stuff, you know? So, it's kind of like, I'm kind of gatekeeping it, but at the same time, like, yeah, if you really want to know what I'm wearing, then now you know. Musk Therapy by Initio is some seriously good stuff. Yeah, I will just say, it's actually a subjective smell. Like, with all that said, the first time you smell it, if you're a guy, you probably won't like it as much as a girl. So this does lean a little bit feminine, but it works really well on guys too, which you may not really expect if you're a guy. So do try this stuff out. If you're a guy and you don't like it, best advice I would give you is hand it over to a girl that's near you and let her smell it, and then see her reaction when she smells it, and then let me know what she thinks, okay? So that's a little tip I'll give you. Anyway, Next house, and the last of this video, is going to be Roja Dove. Roja Dove. Oh, where do I begin with Roja? Started off with instant love when I tried Elysium. Loved Elysium. Then I tried Enigma or Creation E, and I hated it. I really didn't like Creation E or Enigma. And then I tried Oceania, and I hated it. And then I tried Vetiver, and I was like, okay, this is alright. So I'm like, maybe I'm starting to find the ones that I like now. So I tried Vetiver, and I'm like, this one's actually not too bad. Then I tried a Solar Blue Parfum, or Isola Blue, whatever you say it's called. That one's like a Terra Hermes style fragrance, and I was kind of like on the fence about that. I don't like Terra Hermes, so this fragrance was like meh for me. I was like, okay, this is a little bit of a downgrade from Roja Vetiver, but I don't hate it. So I gave Roja a few more tries, and then I found A Midsummer Dream. This was actually like an improvement over Isola Blue, in my opinion. This was like Terra Hermes, but they made it better. So a little bit more complex and interesting. So it was a little bit of an upgrade for me from Isola Blue, Midsummer Dream. And that's kind of like where I'm at now. I tried a few other ones like Reckless, and nah, I didn't like that. I tried the Isola Blue, the new one, I can't remember what it's called. It's got coconut or something in it, but that was like too feminine, jasmine, old lady-ish. Oh, I hated that so bad. Anyway, Roja. I tried Elysium Intense as well. Sorry, that was like too sour and too whatever. I don't know. They ruined Elysium with the Intense one. I hated that. So as it stands, the best Roja is Elysium. No brainer. I don't think you already expected that answer, honestly. But the second best from Roja Dove, I'm going to say it's either Roja Vetiver or Midsummer Dream. As of right now, yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards Vetiver or Midsummer Dream. Yeah, I think if I had to wear one of them, it would probably be Vetiver. Just even though it's a little bit barbershop, a little bit fridgier and challenging. Like Vetiver's scents are more of a mature kind of smell. I don't feel like it's an offensive smell. So I feel like this is a really well done, like mossy Vetiver citrusy fragrance. I feel like this is classy enough and citrusy enough to kind of wear. So I would definitely say Roja Vetiver second best behind Elysium. But then there is Elysium Intense, which, I mean, you could wear it if you want, but it just smells like Elysium, but worse, more sour. Okay, so anyway, yeah, that's the video done anyway. Oh yeah, I'll just say the notes of Elysium are citrus, blackcurrant, apple, cypriol, leather, juniper berry, vetiver, pink pepper, artemisia, lily of the valley, and yeah, the main things I like about Elysium is definitely the blackcurrant, the apple, and the cypriol, with like the juniper as well. So that's the standout for me in Elysium, is like the blackcurrant and the leather and the apple cypriol kind of combination in there. So if they do make another Elysium flanker, like Elixir or a Parfum or an Intense or something like that, like something more classy, don't make it more sour and fresh. Actually take some of that sourness out of it and smooth it out a little bit, because I feel like that's what this fragrance needs. It doesn't need to be more sour. You put a million citrus fragrances in Elysium, it's too much. You need more balance. So it shouldn't be sour. It should be like fresh, but just fresh enough where it's not like a winter scent, you know? So just like think like add the blackcurrant as the star of the show. Blackcurrant and apple will give you a nice fruity base, but then you want to like make it more classy with the like the leather, the juniper, a little bit of vetiver, a little bit of lily of the valley, and just enough citrus to like kind of like push it up a little bit fresh, but not to the point of sour. So yeah, I don't know how I will explain it, but like Bleu de Chanel did a pretty good job of making a nice freshie without being too sour. And Dior Homme Sport actually did a pretty good job of that as well. So you could maybe add some Alimi resin in there. Alimi resin tends to smooth citrus out quite a lot and give it like a nice resinous ambery smell. So maybe that's what it needs. Maybe it needs like Alimi resin or some kind of resinous ambery aspect to it, which would really like help with that sourness. So that's my advice. Don't have to take it. I'm not a perfumer. I'm sure Roger knows what he's doing. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video, and yeah, I may make a part 2. I don't know if it's worth it. Anyway, there is also plenty of other houses I could talk about, from Nasamato to Ormond Jane, Bois 1920, DS Durga, Matière Premier, Zaharoff. I could talk about Zoologist, Histoires de Parfum. I could talk about Gallagher, Lubin, Soradora, Kerosene, Narcotica, Mind Games, House of Ouds, Acro, Tiziana Terenzi. I could talk about McAuliffe. So if you want to see me talk about any of those brands in future videos, I could definitely do that. I could talk about Nasamato, Risasi, maybe Electimus, Joyvoy Paris, Rosendo Matteau, Auto Parisi, like Commodity, Italia, Frederic Moll, Lalique, Paris Monte Carlo. Yeah, there's a massive list of other niche houses I could put in the next video anyway. So that's kind of like what I'm thinking for the next video anyway. Yeah, have a good new year, guys, and I'm sorry it takes me so long to put out videos these days. Just kind of like, you know, I want to give you good content, but I'm not always able to deliver on a good content, so I do feel very bad and guilty about that, especially a video like this where it's not the ideal video that I really want to be making, and I only really hope to make these videos one time, you know, like I don't want to have to make another best designer video, or I don't want to have to make another best niche video. I just want one video that ages pretty well and you can go back and watch it. I don't want to be like Jeremy Fragrance that puts out a top 10 list every single day, like a one and done, you know. So for me, it's more about quality over quantity. The quality is not great, but at least I can cover every single house in one video, or at least the top houses in one video, and then like hopefully my taste doesn't change too much in the future. If it does, then I can make another video, but right now I feel like my taste is kind of consistent and it's not changing too much. I really do feel like these have been my favorites for like the last few years at least. So I'm pretty confident with all the fragrances I picked here, even though you may disagree. These are ones that I feel like I've tried quite a lot of times, and I feel like they deserve their spot on this list anyway. So yeah, thank you for watching, guys. Have a lovely night or day wherever you are. Okay.